While we look down at our phones, they'll drop a bomb from a drone, then an explosion. We should have known it. We stood on top of mountains, we've been to space before. We had our dogs and houses, we dug up dinosaurs. We built those bombs are dropping, we fought in all their wars. Now that the sky's falling, what did we do it for?
We have a mushroom cloud outside of Moscow at a strategic facility with dozens of casualties. Let me repeat that again. We have a mushroom cloud in a strategic military facility with dozens of casualties just outside of Moscow. Now, guys, I understand that there's trolls lurking in the shadows looking for a safe place to vent every single day, but please, you can be angry at me. I understand the weight of economic contraction is bearing down on you. The angst is overwhelming and you need a safe place to vent. You can be angry, but please don't be stupid. We all know you're secretly prepping in the shadows. I would continue to do so. We're going to talk about what exactly happened at this facility, what they were working on there, what nobody else is talking about, and boy is this significant. Maui is an apocalyptic hellscape. The Texas power grid is on the brink of collapse. There's been another attempt to attack the spent fuel rods at a nuclear power facility. Sergei Shoigu, the Russian Minister of Defense, says that Poland is preparing an invasive force and is going to enter Ukraine soon. We also have them bolstering the troop presence on their western flank. We have North Korea drawing up invasion plans for South Korea. French troops are attacking soldiers in Niger. Biden is getting ready to ask Congress for another $10 billion. The price of oil is skyrocketing. Inflation is on the rise once again. Poland is sending 2,000 more troops to Belarus. Massive convoys of military vehicles en route to Ukraine. We have oil spiking once again due to what's going on in the Black Sea, among other things. We got more Patriot missiles sent into Ukraine. We got to talk about the drought in Canada, among other things. Now look, I could be very aggrieved at these trolls, and I know I'm mentioning trolls in the first 2 minutes of the video, things you never do, but I want to say this. As a person who has an honors the world is descending into complete and utter chaos, one day at a time. My goodness, we have major news today that a massive nuclear drill that is going to involve 51 million people, all descending at the same time into one of 17,000 nuclear bunkers, is about to commence in the coming weeks ahead. And it wouldn't be so bad if the military of said country didn't decide to run a massive joint military exercise at the same time. Talk about a provocative move if I ever heard one. Things could just pop off on August 23rd. Remember that the Ukrainians had telegraphed that they were going to do a massive drone strike in Moscow on the 23rd. Now this other country that we're going to talk about in just a moment is planning one of the biggest nuclear drills they've ever run on that day. And the president of that country is saying this one is going to be different. Guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. What you're seeing behind me is something that we have been warning people about for some time. Apparently, according to the Kiev Post, this video is of Latvian soldiers doing some sort of military exercise. Apparently, they're moving their forces as well as other Baltic states and Poland towards the Belarusian border in response to threats from the private mercenary Wagner organization, as well as the nuclear weapons that Russia has positioned there. So this is just getting wildly out of control. We have so many points on the map to refer to today. Let's talk about the 5 major theaters of World War III that are simmering right now. We have, of course, the biggest one, and these are going to be in order of nuclear potential significance. Ukraine. We have the Korean Peninsula. We have the Taiwan-China issue. We now have, of course, the Strait of Hormuz, where the U.S. Marines could potentially be engaging the Iranians if they decide to commandeer more commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. And we also have Africa about to descend into total chaos. I mean, the war that started in Ukraine set all of this off. It was all a chain reaction. In fact, you could probably go all the way back to COVID, that it was the stress that COVID put on the supply chains, the economic stress that brought out all of these conflicts, which were just lying latent, dormant for the longest period of time. They just needed a trigger. And now that you've had the one in Ukraine, it's causing economic pressure on all of these other developing nations and militaries and everybody on the global economy. And that is bringing out the worst in everybody. Now,
this is Dabu7. We have questions swirling now about why there is this mysterious Chinese biolab in Reedley, California, and how it's gone on for so long without being noticed. What we do know as of right now is that this lab was discovered because some of the security going around the area drove by what was supposed to be an empty building used for storage, and they noticed that there was a hose coming out of the back of this brick building. They didn't understand what was going on with it. So after inspecting some things and looking into it, they come to find out that there's something more going on here. So they pried a little more and more. They finally got a warrant, were able to get in after some suspicions, and they find blood, tissue, other bodily fluids, other samples and serums, thousands of vials of unlabeled fluids, suspected biological agents and material. Additionally, they found some 900 genetically engineered mice. There's no telling what was going on here large scale. They're saying it was an illegal operation that should not have been going down like this. And all the stuff that they've got here in the wrong setting could cause great harm, just depending on what gets released and all that. I mean, we've seen the horror movies. 28 days later, something out of a lab. People are asking, how did this go down? How's this possible? And why here in Reedley, California is this happening? But just a heads up, because if there is one, there could be more. In the way that the Chinese are operating right now, they seem to be very brazen and not caring and getting away with it here large scale around the globe. So, they're going to do something and let the outbreak come from here or something like this next. Wow. This is the latest. A heads up. I'm going to leave links. I'll update more on the live.
Tsunami warning. Evacuate. Alerta de tsunami. Evacuar.
And this is Dabu7. You can see here, there has been a massive quake strike right off the coast of Alaska. I'll take us over here to the earthquake map so you guys could see here where it's situated. Those alarms were going off around Kodiak. And you can see this is south of Sand Point, listed as a 7.4. I believe USGS has this listed as a 7.2. This is a monster quake. And they have tsunami warnings in effect here, saying that the waves should be affecting areas, well, anytime now. This happened overnight, some hours ago. As you can see here, 2:48 a.m. The West Coast could be seeing some of these waves incoming already. So, with a big quake like this and the ongoing swarming, we're going to keep an alert out here for more quake activity. In the past, we've seen quakes spark in this area and work their way up toward Anchorage. Anchorage very quiet right now, but it can start swarming just as easily as this area right here. It's been quiet for some time. This is what happens after all that energy builds up and then finally releases. So we've got a big quake, a tsunami warning, an ongoing swarm here off the coast of Alaska. I will continue to update with more information as I get it. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for those breaking updates. You'll find links below. This has been Dabu7.